Quick disclaimer, information in this podcast is for general informational purposes only and is not intended to be treated as medical advice. Always consult with your healthcare team before making changes to your diet, lifestyle, supplementation, or medication.
Think walking after meals sounds too simple to work? Think again. Science says it's one of the most powerful habits you can build to lower blood sugar, improve insulin sensitivity, and even support weight loss and cardiovascular health. But when it comes to walking, the key is in the timing.
Welcome to Type 2 Diabetes Talk, the place where we chat about what really works to treat type 2 diabetes and prediabetes naturally with nutrition and lifestyle. If you're looking to optimize blood sugar and A1C, lose weight, reduce medications, and improve your overall health, this is the place to be. Now, here's your host, Type 2 Diabetes Nutrition Specialist, Dr. Jedha.
Hello, wonderful people. Thanks for joining me today for episode 89. Today we're talking about a habit that could change your health in just 10 minutes a day, walking, and more specifically, taking a short walk after meals. Walking after meals might sound too simple to matter, but research shows it can significantly lower your blood sugar, reduce insulin resistance, and even help with weight and heart health. In this episode, we'll explore why the timing of your movement matters, what the latest research says, and explain why just 10 minutes of movement after eating could be one of the best habits you can build for longer-term health. Let's start by talking about why this simple habit can have such a big impact. After you eat, your blood sugar naturally rises. This is called the postprandial window. It usually peaks around 30 to 60 minutes after your meal. And here's the thing, even if you don't have diabetes, blood sugar can spike after a meal. That's a natural process. But if you have insulin resistance or diabetes, those spikes are often much higher and they can hang around longer too. Now, why does that matter? Because repeated high spikes after meals, especially when they happen day in, day out, can cause real damage over time. They put stress on your pancreas, contribute to insulin resistance, and trigger inflammation and oxidative stress. That's not just a blood sugar issue, it's a full body health issue. In fact, research shows that post-meal blood sugar levels are an even stronger predictor of cardiovascular risk than fasting levels. So even if your fasting numbers look okay, if your sugars are spiking hard after meals, if they're staying higher than normal for longer periods than they should, that can still raise your risk for heart disease and other complications. Insulin, the hormone that helps to regulate blood sugar levels, moving glucose out of the bloodstream and into the cells, it has two phases after a meal. A quick burst to try and stop the initial spike, then a slower second wave. But when you have type 2 diabetes or prediabetes, that process doesn't work as well. The insulin either comes too late or it isn't strong enough to bring those spikes down effectively. And of course, we know that the body, all the cells throughout the body, whether that's in the liver or the muscles, can be insulin resistant. They resist the effects of insulin. And that's why targeting the post-meal window, when your blood sugar is on the rise, can be very effective. And walking is one of the most effective tools we have to do that naturally. So how does walking help lower blood sugar? Well, after you eat, your body breaks down carbohydrates into glucose, which enters your bloodstream. Normally, your pancreas releases the insulin to help move that glucose into your cells, especially your muscle cells. So it can be used for energy or stored for later. But here's the fascinating part. Your muscles can also absorb glucose without insulin when they're being used. That's where walking comes in. Even light movement like a gentle walk activates your muscles and opens up a different pathway, an insulin-independent one. So glucose can be taken up directly into muscle cells. And this happens through special transporters in your muscle cells called GLUT4 or GLUT4. Think of it like this. When you walk after a meal, it's like opening a second door to help clear sugar from your bloodstream more efficiently. You're reducing the spike at the source by using the sugar as fuel for muscular activity instead of letting it linger in your bloodstream. Not only that, but walking also helps suppress the liver's glucose output, which can stay elevated after meals. It can improve insulin sensitivity and blunt those sharp glucose peaks that drive inflammation, weight gain, and fatigue. So there's lots of great benefits to see here. And here's the best part. It doesn't have to be high intensity. You don't need to go out and do a 45-minute power walk, just 10 to 15 minutes of light to moderate movement, but you do want the movement to be enough to raise your heart rate a little bit. But the point is, a short walk can lead to meaningful improvements in blood sugar control. Simple, doable, and powerful. And interestingly, there are some other ways that we can unlock its power even more.
Are you ready to take charge of your diabetes health? Dr. Jedha's T2 diet program has been clinically proven in a randomized controlled trial to dramatically reduce A1C, weight, and medications in just 16 weeks. The T2 diet program will guide you step by step to discover an eating plan that feels natural and sustainable for you, and most importantly, works to get results. Learn more and join the program today at type2diabetestalk.com/programs.
Let's look at what the research actually shows, because the benefits of walking after meals aren't just theoretical. They're backed by a growing body of high-quality evidence. In one study, researchers compared short walks after meals to a single 30-minute walk at another time of day. What they found was that walking for just 10 minutes after each main meal was more effective at lowering blood sugar than doing all 30 minutes at once. That's because the timing directly targets the blood sugar peak after eating, and they found that the most important after-meal walk was dinner time, because that often tends to be people's largest meal and when people are more sedentary as well. Another trial looked at older adults at risk of type 2 diabetes. Instead of one long 45-minute walk, people did 3 15-minute walks after meals. Both forms of walking were beneficial, but those who did the shorter after-meal walks, their blood sugar stayed more stable throughout the whole day. Systematic reviews and meta-analyses that pulled together multiple studies have confirmed that breaking up sedentary time with light intensity walking, especially after meals, is more effective than simply standing, obviously, or doing the same amount of activity at random times. We also see significantly lower glucose peaks when people take a brisk walk after meals. And these studies tell us that timing really does matter. It's not just about what you eat, but what you do afterwards that can make a really big difference. Even more encouraging, these benefits have been seen across all ages and in people with normal glucose tolerance, prediabetes, and type 2 diabetes. So we see from the evidence that short 10 to 15-minute brisk walking after meals can help lower glucose peaks and stabilise blood glucose. It is more effective for weight loss than longer walks as well, and it can help improve insulin sensitivity. If you're already walking after meals or thinking about starting, you might be wondering, is there a way to make this even more effective? The answer is yes. It's called interval walking training. This simply means alternating between slow and fast walking. For example, you might walk at a normal pace for 2 to 3 minutes, then pick up the pace for the next 2 to 3 minutes. You repeat that cycle a few times and you're done. It's not about running or pushing to exhaustion or anything. It's still walking, just with bursts of a little bit more effort. And what's exciting about this interval walking training is that it's been shown to offer even greater benefits for blood sugar, fitness, and even strength, especially for people with type 2 diabetes. In a study done in Denmark, people with diabetes who did interval walking training had better improvements in glucose control than those doing regular, steady pace walking, even though the total time and energy burned were the same. It worked directly by improving how the body disposes of glucose, even without insulin. So what this tells us is that while walking after meals is great, doing a short 10 to 15 minute interval walking training after meals may be even better. Other studies have shown it also helps increase cardiovascular fitness and leg strength, reduces blood pressure, and helps with better body composition, all from this simple variation in pace. Now, it's important to say that consistency is key. These studies had people doing interval walking 3 to 4 times per week, but if you're looking to level up your post-meal walk, this could be a really worthwhile step to try. Before we move on to chat about putting this into practice, let's hear a testimonial from one of our members.
Alan said, "My blood sugar was a whopping 396 and I weighed 269 pounds. To date, I have lost 35 pounds and my blood sugar now averages 94, 2 hours after my evening meal and 103 in the morning. Very user-friendly. I love your site and recommended it to friends."
So how do you actually put this into practice? Well, it is pretty simple. You'd must start walking. Ideally, start your walk within about 10 to 15 minutes after finishing a meal. That's when your blood sugar is beginning to rise, so it's the best time to make use of the glucose in your bloodstream. Aim for a brisk, steady walk for 10 to 15 minutes, as this is the time frame proven to help reduce the blood sugar spike. It could be a walk around the block, pacing inside your home, or doing a few laps at the shopping centre or in your yard, whatever fits your lifestyle. If it helps, set a reminder on your phone or your smartwatch, especially after lunch and dinner, when glucose spikes tend to be higher. You could also pair your walk with something you enjoy, like listening to your favourite podcasts, calling a friend, or simply stepping outside for some fresh air. The key is to make it a routine, because once it becomes part of your daily rhythm, it won't feel like a chore. And over time, this small action could really add up to some real improvements in your blood sugar, energy, and overall health. Once you get into a routine, try taking it up a notch and include interval walking, 2 to 3 minutes at a brisk pace, 2 to 3 minutes at a slightly faster pace, and do that for 10 to 15 minutes after meals to see if that enhances the blood glucose benefits for you. And while we've predominantly been focusing on blood sugar, the benefits of walking after meals go far beyond that as well. For one, it supports cardiovascular health. Big blood sugar spikes can create oxidative stress and damage the lining of your blood vessels, which increases the risk of heart disease. By helping to flatten those spikes, walking can reduce that vascular stress and support better heart health over time. It also helps with weight management. Frequent glucose spikes drive higher insulin levels, which promote fat storage. So keeping blood sugar more stable after meals can reduce insulin surges and make it easier to manage your weight or even lose body fat. And let's not forget how walking affects mood and digestion. Movement helps stimulate gut motility, which means better digestion and less bloating. Plus, getting outside and moving can lift your mood, reduce stress, and give you a mental reset, especially after a long day. So while the main focus might be blood sugar, this habit supports your health on multiple levels, making it a powerful tool for overall well-being. So let's bring this all together. You eat a meal, your blood sugar starts to rise, especially if the meal contains carbohydrates. This rise creates a spike in blood glucose levels, which your body then has to work to bring down. But instead of relying solely on insulin or medications, you go for a walk. Even a short 10-minute walk helps your muscles soak up some of that glucose, easing the load on your pancreas, improving insulin sensitivity, and helping your body return to balance more quickly. Walking is easy. It doesn't require a gym, expensive gear, or changing everything at once. You just need to move your body for even a few minutes after eating. It's a small shift, but one that could lead to noticeable improvements in your blood sugar, your energy, and even your mindset. And when you're ready, you can build on that by trying interval walking, a simple upgrade that brings even more powerful results. So if there is one thing I hope you take away from today, it's this. Walking after meals is one of the simplest, yet most effective habits you can build to improve your blood sugar and overall health. It's easy to overlook something that sounds so basic, but the research is clear. The timing of your movement matters. A short walk, done consistently after meals, can make a real difference over time, not just in your blood sugar, but in your weight, your heart health, and how you feel day to day. If you're not already doing this, I encourage you to start this week, today even. Try going for a 10-minute walk after lunch or dinner. Notice how your body feels. Pay attention to your energy, your digestion, or your glucose readings if you're tracking. Keep monitoring over time and see how things improve. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with someone who could benefit as well, because something as simple as walking could just change their life too. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, sometimes the simplest habits really are the ones that make the biggest difference. Enjoy your walks. That's all for today. Dr. Jedha, over and out.
Thanks for tuning in to Type 2 Diabetes Talk. Please subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform. And for episode replays, episode notes, and more, visit type2diabetestalk.com. New episodes are available Tuesdays, 10 a.m. US Eastern Time, or your time zone equivalent. Thanks again. We're truly grateful to be a part of your life and help make a real difference.